Hello, 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 Trigger Happy fam. I hope y'all are super excited to be back with us this week, as are we. And now, this particular topic is definitely going to be one that is pretty exciting because it's so daunting. This week, it is daunting. Let's be real. Who wants to wait? Like, who really wants to deny themselves of gratification? I mean, really, really. I feel like
Daunting is such a strong word, but okay, it can be, I guess. Yeah.
that's how I feel about it. That is really how I feel about it, y'all. Today we are talking about the weight, and not the weight as in how much you weigh or how heavy something is, but the weight as in delaying your satisfaction for future gain, I guess.
That's a concept that's unknown to millennials and whatever comes after millennials because we're so used to instant gratification. But there is beauty in delayed gratification, the gratification that you got to wait for a little bit, the one that requires a little patience.
Okay. And if y'all are watching this on YouTube, you will see all of my eye rolls and my whatevers. Um, because I mean, let's just be honest, right? There's no guarantee, that I'll be here in, 60 years. So since there's no guarantee, I used to be of the belief that if I wanted them to get it now. And although you absolutely should live as every day could potentially be your last because one day you'll be right, I also have found that when it comes to sexual expression and sexual experiences, that it is absolutely okay. And there even, unfortunately, is some benefit in waiting. Now, I will say this is not a religious conversation, and I'm not telling anyone to wait until marriage because I'm not about that life myself. But if that's what you want to do for your religious reasons,
Nope, you got to milk the cow before you buy it. Got to test the cow before you buy it.
I need a test drive, quite a few of them, because there's no way I'm buying a car without driving it. Like, there's just no way. No. Why would I do that?
Yeah, I always, even growing up in church and even when I went to church regularly, I always thought that was like a little questionable. I was like, dang, so you're supposed to wait till you're married and then have sex with the person for the first time when you're already married? And then it's like,
Forever.
what if you don't like it? Or what if it's not, there's no chemistry there? I mean, there's certain things you can teach, but there are certain things that it's just there or it isn't. So I was always like, I don't know about that.
Well, I knew from the jump. Remember, I was the kid who I stayed asking questions, and for me, it didn't make sense. Like, especially because I watched my parents and how incompatible they were in all areas and arenas of life, especially sexually. And I was just like, dang, they really do supposed to be with each other for life. And she can't stand sex and he loves sex. How is that supposed to work out without one or both parties being absolutely miserable, absolutely frustrated, and absolutely unsatisfied? So for me, from the beginning, I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not about to do this. I don't like it. I don't see how it makes sense. And so, because too, I grew up in such a restrictive household, in that we weren't allowed to do anything. I couldn't wear pants. I couldn't have more than one piercing. I wasn't allowed to go to the movies. I wasn't allowed to talk on the phone, shoot, to boys or really to girls either. Like, there were just all the restrictions. No movies. So I have very limited knowledge about like early Black culture, like the Black movies. Y'all can take my Black card because I haven't seen most of them. And even now, like, I don't have an affinity towards them. Like, how a lot of people do, like, they be like, oh man, Boys in the Hood. And I just be like, okay. Like, certain songs, like I wasn't allowed to listen to the devil's music. Like, there was so much that was so
Not
restricted.
the devil's music.
The devil's music, sis. Anything that wasn't like a hymn or a glorification unto the Lord, I was not allowed to have access to it. So no dances. I've never been to a prom. I've never been to a school dance. I never went to a high school football, basketball, any of those type of games. So because my entire life was so restricted, when I turned 18, actually before I turned 18, I was like, let me go ahead and bust it wide open a little bit. Just so it was the one thing that I could control. And so I was going to control my sexual experiences because I don't care how restricted she was, I was going to find me a way to somebody's son's private parts. Like, it was going to happen.
But as you've gotten older, do you find more of a, do you find it more beneficial to have a waiting period? Like, I feel like it's like this age old question, like, especially now because most of us are not waiting till marriage. So it's like, then how long do you wait for? You know, because before, if marriage was the finish line, right? And that's what you were waiting for, and you remove that, then you're kind of in limbo. It's like, okay, I'm not waiting till marriage, but how long am I waiting for? And specifically when it comes to having sex with somebody that you are wanting to pursue. Because I don't know if it necessarily applies to like flings or one night stands, and obviously not to one night stands, but if it, you know, like you have like a little summer fling or you have somebody that you're talking to or it's complicated, I'm like, that doesn't really matter as much. I think the wait is more so for that person that you maybe see a future with, that potential where you don't want to really mess it up by thinking, oh, I'm having sex with him too soon. If I wait too long, he's going to lose interest. Like there's like this limbo that we have now trying to navigate this new space where we're not waiting till marriage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, if we're keeping it a buck, which we always do, I personally believe in having like, you know how on each level of Super Mario Brothers, there are specific things that you have to accomplish or you have to do in order to get to that next level.
Yeah.
For me, that's what it's like. Unless, of course, like we were talking about, where it is a fling or it's something where it is just like a, you know, I just want to hit it and quit it because I know there is zero opportunity for a future with you. I just got an itch that I need to scratch, and you're the best person to scratch it. You don't aggravate me too much. You're not extremely dumb, and you kind of cute. So yeah, let me let you scratch this itch, and then
Extremely. So dumb, but not extremely dumb.
I mean, because listen, if we're being honest, every single person you sleep with has the potential to be the father of your child for, you know, for those who are fertile or able to procreate or not trying to procreate, but it could happen. Like, and I'm a firm believer in condoms. Like, I don't play pretend with nobody's son. And you have to get tested in order for me to put my mouth anywhere near your private parts. However, there is still a potential that things could happen. So I need to make sure that you're not so dumb that I'm not messing up any future children, although I am absolutely pro-choice and will do what needs to be done. But I digress. For me, right, I do agree with you when you talk about when you see that there's potential there, being willing and okay to wait. And by waiting, and you asked about time frame, for me, it's once I realize that we've gotten to a specific level, because again, I'm not trying to wait until anybody's marriage to have sex. I'm not a proponent of that. I'm not going to teach my girls that. That's just not a thing that I personally believe in. However, I do believe in abstaining for extended periods of time so that you always have control. Or I like to call it pussy discipline. I do believe in having pussy discipline because there's so much value, like you were saying, in waiting so that you don't get so distracted by how good the sex is that you can't see clearly on who the person is.
Right, because we do get dickmatized. That is a real thing. That is a real condition
It's a
that
condition.
some women experience. Sometimes, like sometimes I watch. I'm into reality TV. It's like my guilty pleasure. I just am. I just find humans fascinating. And I know they're scripted, whatever, right? But I like reality TV. And a lot of the reality TV I watch with my partner is like couple stuff and, like things that are couple centric in one way or another.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm watching these shows and you can like see like a woman putting up with bullshit that's like obvious bullshit. And I always think like, oh, he's digging her down. Like, that's what's happening. Like, sometimes for me, that's the only explanation as to why you put up with absolute foolishness and why you'll tolerate being treated a certain way. And you can just see where, like, when they leave and they keep coming back, I'm like, oh, they got like a toxic sex cycle that if there are no children involved and money is not like a really big component of their relationship, 9 times out of 10, he's digging her down.
Yes.
And she is dickmatized and she cannot escape the spell. It's a thing. And every woman of sexual activity age, I don't know if that's a thing, but I just made it up.
It sounded good.
Every woman has one dickmatized story. We all do. We all have that one story where we were like, yeah, the dick was good and I was being stupid. We all have been stupid one time. At
least twice in my because here's the thing. It seems like the brokest, most bummish, and I don't even know if that's grammatically correct. No job having, no goal getting. Those are the men who have, it's like they tried to prove to you that they invented the very act of sex. And they pay such attention to the female body because, I mean, they're not paying attention to nothing else. They got nothing else to do. They are focused on their focus. They know how to take you to heights unknown. And they, especially some of the ones that I've experienced, and I can't deny that there have been a few, but some of the ones that I've experienced, they did this deep, intimate, because, those bummish ones, they be so philosophical and they have all of the
a lot of time to think.
You got a lot of time. So they be so philosophical. And so they could go real deep. And just being honest, many very driven, very successful men, and sometimes even women, they can't go that deep. So they're real surfacey. And so for humans or for women who need to connect a little deeper in order to go there sexually, they miss the whole mark. Here's the mark. Here's where they miss it. It's kind of like, oh, you were so close. But you missed it. But those bums, oh, man. They don't miss a thing.
It's not always. Why are you gonna call them bums?
I'm sorry. Those men who are still discovering how to tap into their best selves.
Financially, they do have. I never put that together. That because they're not super focused on like making money or work or ambition and goals, they tend to be a little bit deeper as far as like philosophical things and political things. Like they typically can like mind fuck you in a different way. But I got time. Well, because they have time. That's so true. I recall an experience like that. It just hit me. I was like, we did used to have really deep conversations, and I was so dumb. I was driving to go pick it up.
I've done that too.
And don't forget to bring some food now. You gotta stop and get him some food. So you go in the house. You don't got a car, so you gotta go pick him up, bring him back, and guess what? Then you gotta drop him back off. Like, what is this? This is like Uber for the dick. Is that what we're doing?
for the dick?
Because pre Uber days.
This is before Uber was a thing, y'all. We're dating ourselves.
Yes, you had to go. You had to drop. You know how girls like, oh, I'm gonna call Uber to pick her up and songs and stuff like that. No, y'all. Back in the day, you had to take them yourself, and you knew you was being a stupid hoe when you would go pick him up because he didn't have a car or he had roommates or something and you didn't want nobody involved.
You didn't want nobody to know.
You had to take that motherfucker home.
You had to take him home.
And usually, you want to know something? And usually it's the next day because you know how men like to talk about how a woman overstayed their welcome and you got to like kind of hint to them that you want them to leave and you got to kick them out. Don't nobody overstay their welcome like a broke man. Nobody. Nobody.
You be trying to set up house and it's like, sir, yeah. So I got to go to work or I've got some homework or anything else to do except for have you here right now in my bed.
What? Men that ain't got it like that. They want to parlay. They want to hang out with you because they don't got nothing but time.
They got nothing but time. And so for women, this is honestly too how a lot of women get caught up. This is also too why I do believe in waiting a little bit. And here's the thing, I arguably am one of the most sexually experienced and sexually free people of my friend groups as in plural. And in all of this sexual freedom and everything else, I still believe in having discipline around sex. Like I am very, very disciplined. I have guys in my life who I am literally, and we've been friends for years, who I am literally waiting for them to get their ish all the way together so that I can climb that tree. But they don't have it all the way together yet. And I know that it could be something really, really dope if and when they were to pull it together. And not financially. Financially, all the men in my life are abundant. I'm talking about, because it can't just be about finances, right?
Right. Yeah.
That whole, we serious when we say we don't date broke men, and it's not just financially, the mental, the emotional, the physiological, getting that together. No, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody is saying that, but there does have to be some level of progress. Once I know that one of these homies in my life once he hit that lick and he is so close, I definitely plan on climbing that tree. We'll talk about it on the episode. Won't say his name because that's real rude and disrespectful, but y'all just know. But in all of, like I said, that sexual freedom, I'm a firm believer in still having discipline around sex. I don't care what your religion is, how free you want to be. Yes, of course, flings, one night stands, if that's your thing, allow those to be. But anything that you know you want to pursue, I do believe in delaying your gratification for it so that you are not blinded.
Yeah. And a lot of times nowadays, there's this idea that sex is meaningless, especially to women. Like, oh, whatever they can do, I can do as, women and men. Like, oh, if a man can do that, I could do that. You can. But I do.
I have.
Biologically and emotionally I'm a firm believer that men and women are very different, right? In a lot of ways, especially biologically. And even if you can do it, and it feels good in the moment and things like that, there are just a lot of the makeup is really different and how we view sex is very different as men and women a lot of times. And even though to you in that moment, you may feel like, hey, this is nothing. I know we have all stepped into situationships where we're like, oh, I don't really want nothing from him. He don't want nothing from me. And somebody somewhere catches feelings. And that usually happens because sex becomes involved or sex was introduced so early. And now all these things are mixed in. So I agree with you that waiting sometimes can, one, I think help you get to know the person more before you kind of, and what Jada called it, an entanglement, before you get entangled. I think kind of having this understanding of who you're dealing with a lot, because again, if you've been dickmatized, you've also had the experience of, dang, I wish I didn't sleep with that man. Like, dang, like I could have, Like, that was such a waste. And Alicia and I, we have a thing where that just don't count.
It don't count. Listen, I got quite a few that it just, and literally the craziest
It
thing
don't count.
is, listen, they will reconnect and be like, oh my God, remember that time when and because I convinced myself it didn't happen, I'd be like, are you sure? This one dude was like, we definitely had sex. I was like, we definitely did not. I felt so bad. I denied him thrice to his face.
Don't count. First of all, your pussy meter resets every 10 years. So some of y'all have miscycled out. That don't count. It don't count.
Don't count. It does not count. And I did not remember. And he was so offended that I did not remember. And then he literally had to explain to me the exact place, the exact time, like where we were. This Negro even remembered what I was wearing. And I was like, oh my God, I do remember that outfit. Oh yeah, I did go home with you. Oh, damn. I ain't even remember that, dog. My bad.
No,
Totally
but it's one of those things where we all have those, and I think men have it too, like those regrettable, like, oh, I could have chose differently, right? What you call pussy discipline, like it was not disciplined at that time, and a lot of times women don't get to talk about that, or we don't get to explore in the same ways because of the patriarchy. We'll just blanket statement it in that way. But I know that as I've gotten older, I've learned the importance of just kind of, let me take a step back and observe. Let me move out a little bit. Let me kind of see what you're about. Because it's not just about how you're feeling in that moment as a woman. And of course, we're empowered to make those decisions and to do our thing and to explore our bodies, explore other people's bodies, all about that. But there are so many other things on the line other than STDs and pregnancy. There's also your reputation that can be on the line. And that's still a thing. I know it seems like it's not, and you shouldn't care what anybody says about you, but there are literal opportunities that you could be escorted out of because of your reputation and because of the things that you're associated with. I know that sounds really foreign these days, but that is actually a thing that still happens. And I know that we shouldn't be overly self-conscious about that. But your reputation and how you show up in the world is still something that people consider for business opportunities, for romantic opportunities. So you do want to make sure, like, maybe smashing the homie's not a good idea. You might really like the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might really start developing something with somebody. And then one day you got to be like, so I kind of smashed your brother.
all the homies.
And it's just like, now, you know what I'm saying? So just kind of thinking in a broader sense and also anticipating a little bit of the future, not so much that you're not free and you're not expressive, but just enough to navigate and to what's the word? And to kind of carry yourself in a way that is just a little bit more intentional when it comes to the partners that you choose.
Absolutely. And for me, like you were talking earlier, saying that for some women, they cannot separate it. So I'm going to be hella real with y'all. The way I was introduced to sex separates me. It disconnects me. So if I sleep with you early, please understand, I have no intention on keeping you around at all. You literally are something that I'm going to play with.
That's how men are too.
I know. I tell you, I got masculine energy in a very real way. For me, sex is not something that connects me. It just doesn't. So when you were saying, you said usually, which I love, where you didn't generalize, because for me, okay, so we had sex. Next item on the agenda, please don't call me. I'm not connected in any way. It doesn't mean anything to me. And not in like a broken way, just in a literal, it's just not that deep for me.
And there are women, that's why I say usually, that's why I always use those words, because we have now entered a space in the world where we can identify that women are not a monolith. And there are different types of us when it comes to sex. Like, there are really women, like I've had friends like come back with sex stories and it's like, oh, so what was his name? She was like, shit, I don't even know what his name was. Right? And she was fine with it and she didn't feel no kind of way. And then there are women that they have sex with a guy one time and they think they start planning the future with the man.
Well, that's a problem though. That is a huge problem.
We have that. We have.
Yes. And that's something, and I'm not saying you should be like me, because I don't think anyone, honestly, should be so much like me in that again, sex does not connect me. If you want me to connect to you, you want to make me wait, and I'm going to want to make you wait, because it has to be something deeper that connects me than just what two bodies can do. And I love what two bodies can do. I love everything about sex except for babies in this moment and diseases ever, right? And also, when it comes to women, we will think that, okay, once we do decide to have sex, that because we're having sex, it also means that all the other things are now sped up, that all of a sudden he is or should be completely open and vulnerable with you because you're opening your legs. He should be giving you money, or should be paying for expenses and taking care of you because you are with him sexually, or he should be ready to bring you to his mama. Like, there are so many things that we place on the sexual act. Like, once we have started to have sex, that we're like, oh yeah, now that we're fucking, there should be all these things, this red carpet that's rolled out. And I need you to understand, just because you've started to have sex with him does not mean now the timeline that he has for levels of trust, for levels of depth, have now been accelerated. That's just not the case. And if you know you're a woman that cannot deal with that, then you should maybe wait a little while longer, because sex does not automatically open up his entire life to you because he's sleeping with you. Men impregnate, like literally men impregnate whores, and no disrespect, but I mean actual people who sell their vagina for a living, sex workers. Maybe that's a better term. Men impregnate sex workers all the time. Like, it's not like an open sesame type of thing. And so for me, when I say levels, get clear on what the requirements need to be before you open up your legs or your entire life to somebody who may not be in that same place as you. And Danny, I really did love what you were talking about. And I loved too the story of, you and Reggie, because it was a story in waiting, right? It's
yeah.
in waiting.
Yeah, we definitely. So when I met him when I was 19, a long, long time ago now, Jesus, over 10 years ago, when we met, we connected really intensely, and it was very like hot and heavy, but I never slept with him. And even though I was really young and prone to that behavior at that time to do that.
Hold on, not prone. Wait.
I was prone to that behavior at the time at 19. And he was very attractive. I was always very attracted to him, and we just had a vibe. And but something in me, like deep down inside, like my highest, oldest self was like, bitch, wait. Clank, clank. Just wait. Just don't. Like, I really liked him really fast. Like you said, like when you really, really like someone, you start to be like, okay, wait, what is the potential here? Mm-hmm. And I remember like really fighting my vagina to not sleep with him.
Yeah.
By the time we parted ways, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't do it. And I was always like really proud of that, with myself, like, okay, I didn't have sex with him. Like, and then when I would run into him, like over the years, there would always be like this tension and I really believe it was because we never had sex, but we would make out, like everything else, we sleep in the same bed together, like all of that, but we really would not have sex. And I'm talking about like, I never gave him head, like nothing. Right. Yeah. But we would make out a lot and touch a lot and all that stuff. So there was like that passion. So the chemistry was there. So we knew it was there, but we just didn't take it there. So then when we reconnected for this last time and we got together, the first night that we hung out, it was like a date. Then we went to the strip club and I like ended up back at his house and I still didn't sleep with him.
I know he was like, golly.
Really drunk too. And I really wanted to. And I bet, and one of my girlfriends was with me and she was like, don't fuck him. And I was like, what? She was like, don't. She was like, don't do it. She was just like, I feel like she's like, I can see that you really like him. Yeah. Don't do it. And I was like, really? She's like, if you want him, don't do it. With him. And I was like, damn. He was looking like it had been years since I seen him. He was looking fine. He pulled up in the pull up. He was smelling good. We was having a blast. He was taking me on this marathon date. I was just like, oh my God. And then I got drunk and she's like, don't sleep with him. I don't sleep with him. The next day I wake up and I'm just like, okay, like, let's see what happens. And I still wait. No, and I still waited. I think after we reconnected, it took almost like 2 months or something. And mind you, I've known this man for over 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
We're very comfortable. I would sleep over at his house. He was very respectful. And you want to know something? When we ended up doing it, I initiated it because I wanted it to be my experience in a sense and my decision. I didn't want to be seduced in that way. And when we ended up having a conversation about it, he was like, honestly, if I didn't wait all those years ago, he doesn't think that we would be where we are today. One. And two, I am the only woman in his entire life that he has pursued that he did not have sex with. So it made me memorable.
That is why I suggest wait. Like, and here's the thing. I talk about sex with the men I date all the time. I need them to be fully aware that if I unleash this on you, and this is not at all to minimize domestic violence or anything like that, but I'm super clear on how powerful I am. Super clear. I've had men follow me with guns because it's just that good. I am super clear on how good it is. And because of that, I believe that I should not unleash myself onto people who I know, and this is at this point in my life, who I know I don't plan on truly having something with unless there is a very, very clear understanding of what this is and where this is going. And I'm not in the space I am now. Like, again, super sexually free and also very, very disciplined when it comes to sex.
I love that. I love the idea of freedom and discipline in the same sense because with great, and I'm quoting like Spider-Man or something, but with great power comes great responsibility. And it's really true. I really believe that. Like every time I watch a Spider-Man movie and they always say that line, either Aunt May or somebody says it. And I'm just like, that is so true, right? And especially when it comes to your vagina. So I love this idea of I'm really free and I can make all these decisions. But with that freedom, I can have discipline to be intentional and to make the decisions that best serve me with all my freedom. Like that to me is real freedom. Where you're free, that you're in control. Oh my God. I mean, that's what we all want, but we go the opposite route where we restrict ourselves to have control. But it's like being an alcoholic or a recovering alcoholic and being able to be around all the alcohol and being like, nah, I got it. I'm good. As opposed to being like, I can't step into a bar because I'm an alcoholic. I can't even smell it or I'm going to have a drink. There's such a different, I mean, that's two very different, I'm sure for anyone who's an addict, that's two very different stages of recovery where you can be around it and be like, I'm good. No, you can't be peer pressured. You can't be seduced by it. And the difference of, I can't even step into a room with it. Like, I think that's kind of where you have to get, especially sexually, if you are a sexually free person, where I can lay in the bed with you, I can touch on you and still be like, no.
Yeah. Like, and literally that's where I am in life. And a lot of times I feel as though, or for me, I believe that if I can become disciplined in this area, right? Because it's something that I like so much, that if I can become disciplined in this area where it's not a motivation for me, I'm not motivated to not have sex. I'm motivated to have all the sex that exists in all the places, in all the worlds, on all the balconies. But I digress. In all the public places. I'm coming back again now. That's what I'm motivated to do. However, when motivation is running lower, when motivation is not enough, discipline has to step in. Yeah. It matters to me that I am able to be placed in situations where normally I would, let me go ahead and acquiesce. I am able to say, hey, at this point in time, I'm not doing this. Like right now, I just stopped messing with this dude. And so I haven't had sex with anyone else for like 3 months at this point. Not because I can't, like, be clear at any given moment, because I love to date. I believe in dating as a single woman. I'm talking to anywhere from 5 to 7 men at one time. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a very healthy thing. I'm not fucking 5 to 7 men at one time. I am dating 5 to 7 men at one time. But for me, I always like to cleanse myself once I know I'm finished dealing with someone. And I always need to make sure that I am in full control of any and everything that that my vagina wants to do. Like, I'm very, very disciplined, because if I can discipline myself in this one area that I really, really like a lot, I can become disciplined in other areas. Like, I can become disciplined in my business. I can become disciplined in how I manage my finances. Like, that discipline spreads across so many areas of your life, where I do absolutely believe in following my bliss. And when I'm in that season, I do follow my bliss, not with everybody, because I like being able to walk into a room and know that I have not been with every person in the room. That makes me feel good. That's a powerful thing for me.
Right. That's where the power can be. Because I feel like when it comes to Black woman empowerment, I don't know why there's such an emphasis on sexuality. Because when we talk about white woman empowerment, when I see white women talk about their own empowerment, it's always in like a business, financial boss of a company sense. Like, it's always like that, in that kind of a way, like being able to kind of have it all, work, wife, mother type thing. But then when it comes to Black women, for some reason, our empowerment is very much tied into our sexual prowess. And I'm not really sure why us being, I know that we are expressive. It's just as a community, as a culture, and it's okay for us to be that way sexually, and I'm okay with it. But I don't think that everything should be so rooted in our sexual prowess. Like, yeah, we're amazing. I get it, but there's just more to our power. And I love that you're saying that. Hey, I feel powerful not sleeping with these men. Like, I think that's really sexy. Like, I feel sexy walking into the room desired, because everybody's not whispering about me over there. And this man is like, oh yeah, I hit that. Like, sometimes it's like, no, let me walk in and be this baddest bitch that is untouched by any of you with your little dirty paws. I like hearing you say that, because I definitely know that feeling of walking in and that it's like, oh yeah, I know you want it, but it's just not that easy. And before we go, I really wanted to touch on you talking about the importance of you cleansing. There's a lot of memes and a lot of things on Instagram going around like energy exchange, especially with sex, and how you're carrying all these things around. I personally do not fully buy into that or believe that. You can have an energetic exchange with shaking hands with somebody, y'all. Like, it's like, yes, I know. And these soul ties from sex, it's just like, y'all gotta just stop reposting and religious. I feel like there's like a meme cult. It's like a religion where people are like regurgitating the things they see on memes like it's the truth. Y'all, energy is something that can be cleansed and removed. It cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be transferred and moved somewhere else. So stop feeling like you are a prisoner to all the people that you've decided to have sex with. The same way you could cleanse the energy in your room and anywhere else, you can also do that within your body. You are in control, and you have the power over what you allow to stay inside of you, especially energetically. So please, like, do not think like, oh my God, I slept with that man and he turned out to be a serial killer. Am I a serial killer now? Like, come on, guys. I really see people talk like that. Like, maybe I'm like that because he was so broken, so I'm so broken. It's just like, y'all, it's just you. It's just you and your own energy and your own shit. Stop blaming that man that you slept with 10 years ago for why you can't heal. That don't got nothing to do with him.
Nothing at all.
Sorry, to clarify that. I just like that you're saying that, hey, I cleanse myself, and that may be abstaining for a while, and you may need a yoni steam. I don't know what your process is, but just reassuring women that is something that you can cleanse yourself of, that the same way you should be doing, from handshakes, from people touching your head. All those things do need to be selective, period, but also know that you can clear.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for me, like I was saying earlier, when I walk into a room, and this is where I draw my power from, and we've talked about this before, you have to realize, where does your power come from? I like to walk into a room like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs, because I do.
Hello.
And I like to be able to know that whomever I do decide to make my partner, again, as sexually free as I am, I also have been very disciplined in how and who I express that with, right? And so when I'm deciding that I am going to switch partners, or a person's going to be promoted to friend in my life and will no longer be sexual partners, I like to just cleanse in between for a number of reasons. Number one, I always use condoms, so there usually is never skin to skin contact like that. I don't believe in that. I like not having sexually transmitted diseases. And again, if that is not the case for you, do not feel like, oh, you're this tainted person now, because you're not. However, if you do not and have not experienced a sexually transmitted disease, then there are things that you can do to keep yourself safe. And also, too, I know for sure with full certainty that I do not want any more children at this point in my life. Later, sure. Right now, oh God, I'd cry. So I make sure to only and always use condoms. But still, because I don't believe, and because of how I know I engage in sexual activity, that there is always a spiritual component to it, whether we're having tantric sex first and we go from there. Like, there is always a level of depth with me when it comes to sex. So because of that level of depth, when it does come to sex, I know that I have to cleanse them. So I will use like suppositories. I'll go through periods of abstinence where I'm not engaging in any other energies.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I need to make sure that I have now, I hate to say it like this, but I've washed their scent off of me, if that makes sense. I know it sounds bad, but that's just my process, because it isn't just at this stage in the game for me. It's not just having sex. I literally do, like, I connect with your spirit in a way that makes the sex a lot better. And so because of that, when it is time to disconnect, I take my time in releasing you.
Yeah. And I think that's a very safe way to do it, and not just with the physical aspect of the condom, but just in general of just kind of practicing that cleansing. So for women who are dating and exploring and may not be in a serious relationship, I strongly suggest finding what cleansing means to you, because it can be different for everybody else, and what makes you feel cleansed of any of those kind of interactions that you're having. But to kind of avoid some of those, to avoid the necessity to have to cleanse on a regular basis, I think the weight is something that can be very beneficial to women. I think we don't understand. Yes, men and women can do the same things. We can all have sex. We can all be hoes. We can all do all those things. But I love the just reminding ourselves that there is power in the pussy still. Like, there are things, there are entire wars that have been started over some vagina, y'all. Like, can we please stop just kind of throwing it out there and just giving it to everybody? And, like, it's time to just come home to the idea of, it's not about waiting for marriage or any kind of religious aspect. It's just kind of stepping into your power by understanding how powerful you are and knowing how to navigate that in a way that it can benefit you, because you can use this power to get the things that you want if you know how to control it. And if you know how to keep it in a way that is so desirable that they will do anything, and I mean anything, to get it from you, especially when they know that that pussy is tied to a woman of value, a woman that is strong and intelligent and all the things. So, right, when you have more to offer than just that, they'll wait for you as long as they need to. Don't let them pressure you or make you feel bad or make you feel no kind of way about waiting. When a man really wants you, and especially if he sees more with you and for you guys together, he will wait as long as he needs to.
Listen, he really will. And when it comes to you deciding how long you should wait, that is a completely and totally personal decision. You get to decide exactly how long that's going to be. And I always believe in have barometers. What do you need to see in order for you to feel comfortable to take it to the next level?
Yes. I love that, right? It's not about the specific time. Sometimes the time is really only a measurement of maybe how long he is taking to do the things he needs to do. But don't let that feel like it's too long, it's too short. No, if he's showing you everything he needs to show you in a week, this is okay.
Live your best life.
If he's taking so long, then you take a, like, you know, like if you're going to match energy in that way, especially when it comes to men. Like, see, they show everything in actions. They can talk that talk, but pay attention to what they're doing. And if he's doing all the things and making you feel the way you need to feel, and it feels genuine, because we can feel that, then I definitely can understand some people. There are people who have sex on the first night they ever meet and they're married for 20 years. Like, it's not about just the time. It's about the energy. It's about how that person's showing up for you in the space that you guys are in. So yes, girl, I love this. This is so awesome. And please know, for anyone that's listening to this, this is not like a judgy conversation where we're like sitting on the throne telling you to wait. Please know that this is from two girls that didn't always wait. So we're speaking from more like experience as opposed to like
judgment. Just know, I would never want to wait.
This is not judgment. This is just like, hey, been there, done that. Here's a better way. Yeah. For those who haven't maybe been there, done that, or who have been there, done that, and are looking for a different path because you're not getting the results you want. So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. I hope you share it with your friend that can't keep her pussy in her pants. Be like, hey, sis, there's another way. Especially if she's not getting what she wants. Like, if you're doing it and you're getting the results you want, then keep doing it.
Live your best life.
If you're looking for an alternative because you're not getting the results, we would like to present you with this one.
Absolutely. And everything is about choice. So whatever you choose to do, I wish you all the luck in the world with it.
Yes.
And also, I have now seen the light and waiting and allowing yourself the gift of what presents itself with time.
Yes.
One of the best things you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
But y'all tell me y'all stories, slide in me and Danny's DMs or in Triggered's DMs. We want to hear from y'all. What do y'all think about this episode? Do you believe in having a waiting period or abstaining for specific periods of time? We want to know. So connect with us. Put some comments on those YouTube videos. We want to hear from you. And we cannot wait to see you next time. You already know you can stay connected with me everywhere on Beyonce's internet at Alicia Reese, ALECHIA REESE. Stay connected with Triggered at Triggered AFPC. Danny, where can we stay connected with you? You
can stay connected with me at Miss Danny Foster everywhere. And of course at DannyFoster.com. So thank you guys. So DannyFosterCoaching.com. Jeez. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. We hope that it helps. We hope that, you share it with everybody, with your Trigger Happy fam. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Triggered AF. Remember, don't be consumed by your triggers. Confront it and then work to release it. Whether you leave us more triggered than you came or you're feeling like you've been open to a new perspective, our hope is that you've grown. Make sure to share this episode with a friend who's trigger happy and tag us while you're listening. We can't wait to hear from you. Until next week, pull it together, girl.